The Westman welcome on a top 50 prospect, the newest member of LSU's top 10 recruiting class, Alex Fudge. How you doing, man?
Good, you?
Pretty good. Well, starting to settle in now. It's been a few days that you've announced your commitment. What's it feel like now as it starts to settle in?
It feels great knowing that I found a home and I found a place that I want to be. And I found the players that I like to be around, the coaches. I just found a place that I feel like I can strive, get gains, and make it to the next level at.
Now, you had a top 10. You didn't narrow down any more than that. Who was in that final running for you?
I would have to say it was USC, Georgia, and LSU. Like, it came down to the wire, and all three schools were great schools. All 10 of them were great schools. But those were the schools that really recruited me the hardest. And it was kind of tough between USC and LSU. I was debating going back and forth with them too. So,
Now, USC would have been changing complete coast. You would have been going all the way out to the West Coast, California. Was that ever a factor for you? Did you want to stay closer to home, or how do you kind of value
I
that?
mean, I mean, listening to my mom's story, she told me she committed out of high school of going to USC. So I actually wanted to experience USC. I wanted to experience what Cali was like. On the East Coast, and I want to see what that West Coast is about. But it'd have been nice. I didn't have no problems like leaving home because I just want to get out of Florida. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't have been nothing for me.
Now, you did have Florida in your top 10. Was that something you just didn't want to stay home? Is that why they weren't really a big factor for you?
Uh, Florida, great coaches, but I just didn't feel I fit their system.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the decision where I wanted to leave early as well, and as well as I wanted to go in and be able to like make a major impact. Being that they had Scotty Lewis in their system didn't really fit me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it kind of like canceled out, and they didn't have a spot for me to go there in January.
Now, we know with it being COVID, you didn't get the recruiting process you dreamed of. Most guys get experience. Would that have played a factor? If you could have went out to California and seen the campus more, you could have went to different places. Do you think that would have factored into your recruiting at all?
It probably would have. Being that I didn't get to see USC, I was kind of like shaky about it.
Mm-hmm.
But LSU, it's like home. Like I said, LSU is nothing but 45 minutes away from our hometown. So Lafayette, Louisiana. I mean, being that I knew the area, I knew a couple of areas actually. Like I'd been fine with going to Texas because I have family out there. But it was just something different with LSU. So being that I didn't get those official visits, if I probably did take one to USC, I probably would have fell in love with USC. I'm not going to lie. Probably would have fell in love, and that would have made a huge difference. But
Well, let's get into this LSU, man. They separated themselves from everyone else. What was the defining factor? What was the final thing that you said this is what put them over the school?
just how much time Coach Wade put into me. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, throughout the recruiting process, it was basically him contacting me. He was like, the first 2 weeks, the assistant coaches would call me, and he told him like, I got him. This is my guy. This is who I want." So he told me a couple kids that he was going after. He was like, he only does this on the kids that he wants, and he made it known that he has a plan for me, and he wants me to go to the next level. He was like, you can do that from here. He gave me examples of who he did it with, like Trendon. Trendon should be a great example for me, being that we both play the same position, like the forward, point forward, but Trendon's just a little less athletic than me, and I'm a little more. So just trusting Coach Wade, that's basically what put it over.
There seems to be a turning point for a lot of guys when the head coach takes over and recruits you heavily. Was any other head coaches ever talking to you as much as Coach Wade did, or was any head coaches even talking to you at all?
I will say Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia was one. Coach Crean would call me, make sure I'm good, sending me inspirational quotes and stuff like that. Um, that'll probably have to be it, Georgia. Oh, and also UCF as well. Coach Dawkins called me to make sure I was straight, checking up on me, make sure I'm checking up on Isaiah Adams, and yeah.
So you're talking to Coach Will Wade, and he's a great coach. We see what he's already done recruiting wise, bringing in year after year top recruiting class the past few years. What's like on a personal level when you talk to him just as this two people? What's that conversation like?
I mean, me and Coach Wade's conversation is like at a conversation I would have with a friend or a conversation I would have like with my peers. It's not like strictly basketball. We touch on every aspect of the world. Like if there is a problem going on in the world, we're talking about it. Or basketball wise, like if I have a problem in the game and I need help with it, I just go to him for advice. Like not too many times a coach will call me and ask me how did my game go. Or not too many times a coach will call me and ask me how did my workouts go. And Coach Wade will be the one to let me know, like, okay, if you was to come here, this is what we'll work on. And you'll see that like transfer into your game. Not too many coaches were doing that. And one thing I loved about our conversations, it was like he always told me, like, you're my guy, and I want you to be my guy. So that told me if he was to bring me in, he's responsible for me. So any slip up, it's on him. It couldn't be on the assistant coaches. So it'd have been his responsibility to actually make sure I'm good. So being in the game, I'm gonna have to play those minutes.
I think just as in any relationship, it takes time to finally click and really start feeling comfortable around each other. When was that for you? When did you start realizing that you guys could talk about more than just basketball and you kind of felt comfortable sharing stuff with them?
I mean, I would say like that third week after, because I remember USC fell off. USC had fell off, and Coach Wade just like picked up heavily. He started calling me more. I mean, he started sending me graphics. He started sending a lot of graphics. He started showing me like virtual campus stores and all that. And I mean, from there, it moved just from like the recruiting aspect to like life. We stepped away from the recruiting because he knew he wanted me, and he knew I was thinking about him. So now we started to get into school. How is school going? Are you still thinking about LSU? What do you need to hear from us? What do you want to see playbook wise? How do you want to see how you will fit in? I mean, once we got to that level, I mean, we started feeling comfortable for us just to like, I didn't even know both of us like Zaxby's. I mean, we get the same thing every time. Like, he would call me, yo, you going to get your Zaxby's? Actually, I'm in the line going to get Zaxby's. And I had to let him know, like, you got to get the tenders with the hot honey mustard on it. He didn't know about that. So we had to put each other on about it then. I mean, that's when it just took off.
That's awesome. And I know when you talk about obviously sharing different questions, were there any things you were concerned about with LSU? Were there any things you want to talk with him and have him answer other conversations?
I mean, the biggest topic was the allegations they had against him. But once we had those conversations, I mean, being the fact that you got others explaining and others like letting us know that nothing's wrong. He's there to stay. I mean, it's the school and him versus the world. I mean, I just trusted him. I mean, it's not that I'm going there for Will Wade. I am there for Coach Wade, but if Coach Wade was to leave, I feel like LSU would still be home for me. So, I mean,
it's not like LSU is just the only program dealing with it. Oklahoma State has their 1-year ban this upcoming season. I mean, Kansas, Arizona, LSU, the list goes on with schools. What do you really value that allegation aspect when looking at any school?
I mean, when schools have those type of allegations against them, you got to look into it because it can affect you. Mm-hmm. But you have to be able to trust that person. And I mean, trust that's something special that you have to have, because if you can't trust them, why go there? So, I mean, the way they explained it to us and the way they told us everything is, I feel like I don't have nothing to worry about. So.
No doubt. Well, I always talked about a few different times, and you're a guy that's ranked inside the top 50. I think 47 is the highest in one of them, 33 maybe. But you're a guy I think is a 5-star player. You know how to play at an elite level. You're athletic. You still have some obviously to add on some muscle and stuff like that. But you put your name up there. We see guys like Shaq, Ben Simmons, many guys that go one and done or go to the NBA high rounds. How do you people follow those guys' legacy and become the next guy that goes lottery, first round, even first pick?
Well, I mean, LSU, coming out of LSU, that's my goal. Max 2, but I want to make it at 1 year and done. And that's why I feel like it was necessary for me to leave early. So the word on me is I have a slim frame and I need to add more weight. Well, coming that, I'm going to be there in January. That's what I hope to aim for, adding a couple pounds, getting acclimated to the system, being able to like read all the defenses and the offenses, making sure like I'm fit. So the year that my freshman year actually come up, I'm going to be ahead of the game. So I'm already know like my position, my role, what I'm supposed to do. I'm already be physically ready. So when I do come SEC, I should be able to run for that SEC Player of the Year.
I believe the target goal for you is 215 pounds. How do you let you get to that?
I mean, Coach Wade said it like simple. He told me when I first get there, we're not focusing on weights or nothing like that. We're going to assess the weaknesses in my body. So we're going to assess those first. Now, the next couple of months, that's when we pick up the eating process. We pick up the weights process. We pick up how I'm sleeping. All that goes into one factor. So, I mean, they had me at least at 220, I want to say 215, in that range, coming back when I'll be in May. I'll be coming back in May, so I should be around that area when I'm back. But, I mean, my goal is 220, 225.
Absolutely. And so this upcoming season, then, are you not playing any games then? You're just going to focus on education, graduate, and get to LSU, or are you still going to play some high school stuff?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be with my high school team. I'm gonna try to help them, and I'm gonna give them my all as they gave me their all my whole 3-4 years I was there. So, I mean, I'm gonna help them until I leave because I really didn't want to leave them at first, but I had to do what was right for me and what's going to best help me further myself into the next level. So I'm going to be playing.
You have this freakish athleticism. We've seen different clips of you. We've seen you in games. You are very athletic. How'd you learn to start maintaining that and start using that in a game?
I'm not going to lie. I used to work out with my brother a lot, and my brother is like crazy athletic. So when I used to train with him, he used to tell me, you can't be scared to try different things. And I mean, just watching him, he played football. So he just was out there a freak on the field. So I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to do what he do and just play freely. And my dad, my mom, they used to tell me, let the game come to you. So when it came to me, I mean, I just felt free out there. And that's when I just started implementing that to the game.
Is there a player you kind of model your game after or even watch that you kind of take pieces from and put into yours?
It's a couple of them. I would say Giannis, because this man can just drive. I mean, nobody's a force. And then KD, I try to get in his bag a little bit because he's one of the best scorers I know. And then another one would be Tracy McGrady.
That's an interesting one. A lot of guys say the Kevin Durant ones and those type LeBrons, all those guys. But McGrady's a guy that's an elite scorer. Had a lot of injuries throughout his career. Why do you like him?
I mean, just his ability to score are all over the floor. He could get it in the mid-range, 1-2 dribble pull up. And I mean, his hezzy was nasty. I loved it because as soon as he came down, you didn't know if he was going to shoot it or go right by you. And at that time, he's just pulling it. So, I mean, it's just he had a lot of mixtures in his bag, and I loved it. So I try to put that in my game.
In today's world, all the mixtapes are always focused on dunks. And with you throwing down the dunks you do, that's pretty much all the mixtapes are. But I know there's a lot more to your game. You do have the shot. Break down your entire game. What can LSU fans expect from you your freshman season?
I mean, I'm going to give it my all. Offensively, I mean, playing above the rim, knocking down shots, setting players up. I mean, playing off the ball is one thing I love to do. When you don't got the ball, you can move, you can cut, because the defense don't like to run with the offense. That's one thing I noticed. If the offense is standing still, the defense is happy. But when the offense is moving, the defense is like, oh, we gotta keep up with him. We gotta keep up with him, and that's what defenses don't like. So I mean, playing off the ball is one thing I love to do. On the defensive side, I would say I love to take charges. I mean, in high school, I'm in the game for a lot of time, so I'm taking charges just so I get that extra breath while I'm down on the floor. Foul their best player out. So taking charges, defending the rim, I'm playing above the rim, like I said. So I'll go get it if it's up in the air. It's going the other way. I can guard the 1 through 5. I mean, I got the height to guard the 5, height to guard the 4, and I can stay low and guard the perimeter or the guard. So I mean, it's a lot.
A lot of guys that are able to score at your level, or especially use your athleticism as much as you do, don't always play on defense. They always kind of slack off a little bit to conserve energy. How have you learned to be able to get as much energy as you do, as much stamina as you do, hard to play on both offense and defense?
Well, I mean, my coaches back then, I'm not going to lie, I used to slack on defense a lot. Mm-hmm. And it was the thing I just had to learn. If you want to play offense, you got to get it done on defense first. And my first AAU coach Maurice Willie, he told me, it doesn't matter about offense. He was like, defense is what's going to win the game. And you got to stop the ball. He was like, if they score more buckets, then you lose. So you got to stop them. You got to prevent them from scoring. So usually defense turned me up. Once I'm hyped on defense, I'm going down and I'm making a great play on offense. So that's what get me hyped.
We look at 2020. They have a top 10 recruiting class headed by Cam Thomas, who most likely will be a one-done type of guy. But if he's happens to still stay for his year or two alongside you, what would you guys be able to accomplish along with the rest of the team?
I mean, I feel like we can make it far. I mean, with the guys we got coming in, Brandon Murray, Jerrell Colbert, I mean, and possibly we could get another guard, a lengthy guard coming in. But, I mean, we could accomplish a lot. Just pick up from where they left off this year. And I feel they can make it far in the SEC, if not win the championship for the SEC. So we can just pick up from where they left off.
You mentioned 2021. Your Brad obviously reclass is going to be coming out with you guys, as well as Brandon, Jerrell, yourself. Is there anyone else you guys want to bring along with you?
We want Bryce McGowens. We want to try to bring Bryce in. I mean, Bryce is a nice guard. I love his game. Mm-hmm. Just bringing him in, it'll be a nasty backcourt with me and him. I mean, I feel we could be the two punch that just end it all. I mean, having Javante leave, Darius, Trendon, I mean, and if Cam stays or if he goes, I mean, just having us, that 2021 recruiting class, it'll be crazy. I think we'll be probably the best in the SEC.
Both of you guys are elite scorers, though. How would you guys balance that out and get chemistry enough to sacrifice some points for each other?
Well, I mean, we would know our strengths and we would know our weaknesses. I mean, we would play off of that. So say I'm only good like at the next level, I could drive and like off the bounce, straight mid range. But Bryce is known as like a hezzy type of guy, strike three. I mean, we could play a 2-man game easily. Get it to where we can isolate ourselves with the defenders we want. Say I got a slower guard on me. We can get Bryce to where he can get the man that backs up further off of him. He can get his like 3-game just right in rhythm. But I mean, we'll be able to like get it in though. I mean, we'll just know what we can do and what we can't do. We'll just play from that.
Bryce hasn't necessarily dropped the top group or whatever, but he is being reached out and contacted by pretty much all the colleges out there. When you look at that and he has all these options, why is LSU the best option for him? How are you going to set Bryce on LSU?
Well, I know with Bryce, his main thing is like he wants to develop his body weight as long as like me. So I mean, if you think about it, where else could you go if you want to gain like the weight properly? I mean, if you look at it, Louisiana is a place where you eat good, play good, as you can see with them. And I mean, take for example Zion. Zion came down to New Orleans. He put on a couple pounds, not even a couple, a lot of pounds. Now you get with a program that actually knows how to put those pounds on and make sure you're fit. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And plus, the way Coach Wade plays, he likes those big guards like Trendon. He uses Trendon as a point guard sometimes. He let him rock out, and that's what I loved about it. So I mean, that's why I believe Bryce should be on like his way to LSU. That should be his pick for me.
SEC is one of the best on the best conferences in America. How excited to be able to be a part of that?
I mean, I'm very excited. Being able to go against Kentucky, I mean, Texas A&M, Florida, Tennessee. I mean, that'd be a great feeling just to go against all the teams. I mean, that's mostly all the teams that recruited me. It's like throughout this whole process, but it's just a great experience.
Will you have a different mentality when you go against the schools that are recruiting you? Is there a different kind of mentality you're going to play against them with?
No, I mean, I have respect for all those schools that recruited me. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going to want to win, but at the end of the day, I remember those times where they was talking to me. They was making sure I was okay. When I was down, they was picking me up. But like I said, that mentality still has to stay the same. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to win. I'm going to have to be a dog.
Playing AAU, being an elite player, you've talked to, hung out with a lot of top guys in the country. Are there any guys in particular you're excited to go play against at the college level?
Playing against, I would love to play against Florida State. I know that's Matthew Cleveland and them. It was a tournament I didn't get to play. I had broke my elbow, but that was against Atlanta Celtics. And my team actually went down there and they won. They beat them. And I mean, just playing against like those guys like Jalen Worley, you got Matthew Cleveland, all of them at Florida State. That's just a place like I would want to play the ACC. And they got a nice recruiting class as well. So those are the guys I want to play against.
Long term now, you are a success story, let's say. How will that impact LSU down the line? How many more people will attract by you being another success story for LSU?
Well, if you think about it, if I was the next one to come out of there to be successful in 1 or 2 years, that would be like a story for kids my skill set. Because you would think about it, Ben Simmons came, then Trendon, then it would be me. Then I mean, why wouldn't other point forwards, 6'9", 6'8", that can handle the ball, shoot it well, and attack the rim, why wouldn't they want to come to a school like this? Because that would just prove the fact that they can produce players like us. So, I mean, that could help Coach Wade or whoever's there. Just bring in any player like type caliber as us. And I mean, like, because we're dangerous. You got a 6'9", 6'8", 6'10" that could put it on the floor, shoot the ball, and attack the rim. I mean, that's a KD, LeBron, Giannis, whoever you want to name it.
AAU-wise, you missed a lot of it. Also, not only just because of COVID, how'd that all go through? How'd you get through the injury?
It was crazy. The tournament before we were supposed to play the Atlanta Celtics, we was just a little scrimmage. And, I mean, breaking my elbow, I was down. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to play the Atlanta Celtics bad. But, I mean, I just got through it. I just started making sure, like, I was resting it, making sure it was great, making sure it was straight, actually. And, like, once I was out of it, out of the cast, I just wanted to make sure I rehab. Like, that was the hardest thing for me because, like, I can't really extend my elbow all the way, but I made it to where, like, I could play through it. And I just went to rehab. I went to, like, the doctor, like, frequent visits, making sure I iced it, did ace them with it, like stretches. I was just making sure like I could get through it. So when the time came to where I could play, I was able to play. And I mean, with COVID as well, I was in the gym. Like I was blessed to be able to get in the gym. So it wasn't a fact to where I was like, oh, I got to go play, and I wasn't in the gym. Nah, I was actually ready. So that's why I just felt like them last 2 tournaments I played, I was successful, and I felt like I gave it my all. So,
Are you 100% now? How do you kind of feel in the rehab process?
well, I just got discharged from rehab, physical therapy, and I would say I'm 88%, 90. I have extension, like full extension of my arm, but I don't have that like full range of motion yet to where like I can fully shoot the ball with like full extension. It's some stuff I can't do with my arm, and it's sometimes like it hurts, but I'm able to play through it. So it's just some things I'm gonna have to go, like when I get to LSU, get it looked at. But other than that, I should be like straight.
That's awesome. I know you also commit at 224 and honor Kobe. What went that decision?
I mean, Kobe's just been on my mind lately. I mean, I just like for my personal, I mean, it's just his mentality that he had, just watching him, listening to like some of the stuff he said. I mean, like that's helping me as a player as well. Cause like once you listen to something that's like inspirational, it puts in your mind like you want to be just like him. You want to strive for what he strived for. So I mean, that really played into the factor of 224.
That's awesome, man. And you played a few different AAU things, though, Team Parsons, different events. What did it feel like to get some games in the summer, though?
It was fun. I mean, playing the last couple tournaments with my boys. I mean, COVID did stop it from our previous years, but I mean, it felt good just to be able to go back out there and play the game that I love and dominate. So
There's a few different things I want to wrap up talking about. One is your IG profile picture. What goes into that?
oh, I mean, I'm an anime type of guy. I love watching like Hunter x Hunter, Baki, Dragon Ball Z. It's a lot of shows I like to watch. But One Punch Man, I just like to like whatever I'm in the mood. Like say the guy I got now, got his name, but he's like one of these warriors. It's like elite, and he doesn't give up. And I was like, at this time around, I'm not gonna give up with his rehab. So that's why I chose him. So like the next one will probably be one of me and like half my face and then half a tiger. But who knows? It'll probably be another anime character.
Now, you also have the tiger in Japanese. We'll into that.
Well, I mean, actually, I put that, I'm not gonna lie, I put that like 2 weeks before I committed. And I didn't think nobody knew how to speak Japanese. So that's why I put it there. Nobody still reached out to me yet, but go Tigers. That was all that was into it.
So if someone did happen, how would you respond to them?
I would have been like, somebody sent it to me and told me to put in my profile. I mean, I would have tried to have to play it off, but I knew what I was doing because I showed Coach Wade and I was like, what you think about this? And he asked me what it meant. And I told him, he was like, I like it. He was like, you think anybody gonna find out? And I was like, hopefully not.
Now, when you did tell Coach Wade originally that you're going to be committing there, what was his reaction?
He was just like, he was happy. And his like next words to me were, let's get to work. I mean, when a coach is like ready to get to work, I mean, that's something that you should feel happy about and that you should be looking forward to.
Obviously, well, I was like wrapping up discussing building a legacy for yourself, and that's something I think everyone wants to do. So when you are done playing basketball someday, what do you want remembered for, and what do you want your legacy to be?
Well, I want to be remembered for the guy coming out of my city that like did something, went somewhere, and came back to donate. Because I mean, in my city, it's kind of hard to come out of here. Downtown area, it's crazy. It's a lot of homeless, and I want to make sure I give back to that. Because I mean, they're doing a lot. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're building a lot for them around that area, but there's homeless people down there that needs help. So I mean, I want to make sure like I come back and make sure that they're good, they're straight, and they're just not just out there. I want to make sure that they have a place to stay. So I mean, it's a lot, but I want to be known as that guy people can look up after. Like actually, they could take from my story because I wasn't always good. I was actually at the point where I needed to get that education, and I needed to make sure like I was going to get education scholarships because I didn't know if basketball was for me until like my 9th grade year. So
when did that click for you? When did you realize that you could play basketball at a high level?
I would say my 9th grade year playing against this team, First Coast. Frisco's had a recent, well, he was a commit to Florida State. Nassim Khalid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, playing against him, the intensity was high. This was like our last time playing them. And that game, I mean, I went off. I was a shooter. Like, I was getting to the rim, attacking, shooting. And they had to switch their player, and they had to put Nassim on me. And I was still doing the same thing, dropping threes. And it was this one play at the end of the game. I tried to dunk the ball. I got the dunk, but it went up and it went back in. It wasn't a dunk, but I counted it as a dunk. So, I mean, that just boosted, like, my confidence way up. Because for me to do that against a Florida State commit, I was like, I can do this. My next year after that, I grew to be like 6'6". And once I hit 6'6", it was over. That's when I just let athleticism do its thing, and I took over. So,
when you look at your class, where would you rank yourself? Where do you think you stack up against 2021 guys?
I would see myself top 20, if not top 10. I mean, I have a lot of great tools that some people lack, some people have. But, I mean, it's just heart and that dog in you. And I think I had that more. But, I mean, wherever they have me, wherever they want me to be, it's cool. It's fine with me. I just see myself as, like, one of the top. And I'm just going to show why I should be one of the top. So,
absolutely, man. My final thing, give LSU fans your 3 biggest goals you have set for your LSU career.
One of them would be to win the SEC National Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, make it far in the actual national championship. I want a nat. You know, I want one of those. And 3, just to make an impact, not only at the school, but in the area in Baton Rouge. I mean, being that I'm from, it's like a hometown. Mm-hmm. So I just want to make an impact wherever I'm at, on and off the court. So
that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations once again, man. Can't wait to see what you get done when you get out there at LSU. And thanks for coming on again.
Thank you.
Of course, you're always welcome on, man. God bless.